This morning, we are hearing from the chair of a California board tasked with overseeing racial profiling and diversity in law enforcement. This week, the Racial and Identity Profiling Advisory, or RIPA board, released its 2024 report. In it, the board analyzed more than 4.5 million stops by 535 California law enforcement agencies that were made in the year of 2022. And this morning, we welcome RIPA board chair Andrea Guerrero. Andrea, good morning. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
What is the biggest takeaway from this year's report?
I think it's, one, it's the scale of the data. California is leading the nation in identifying and addressing racial identity profiling. With 4.5 million stops, we can say definitively that racial profiling and identity profiling exists in the state of California. And we know that because we see pervasive disparities and stops and searches throughout the state of California. But the other takeaway is that we have the ability to do something about it. And the RIPA report makes recommendations about what we can do to address this profiling issue. And I think that is a standout situation for California. We are at the forefront of addressing this issue. I'm proud to be a part of a statewide board that is made up of community and law enforcement leaders who are hitting this head on with members of the public to address this once and for all.
We're going to get to those recommendations in just a moment, but we want to go back a little bit. There was a full screen that we put up for our viewers that talked about the number of agencies that reported stops. Some of them, 25 agencies, had no stops. Can you explain why?
We sent follow-up letters to those agencies to understand why they didn't report. We're still in the process, or the Department of Justice is still in the process of ascertaining whether there were technical difficulties or what the situation was with them.
Okay.
I think the more important numbers to look at is the over 500 agencies that did report, and that number and that scale of reporting with over 4.5 million stops provides us with ample data to understand what's going on in California and also what we can do to address it.
Because we do understand in 2022 was the first year that this number of agencies had to report according to that state law. Now, one of the things I want you to also kind of talk about a little bit here is what you use to compile the data. I know that youth interactions, police unions, they were all part of that analysis too, right?
Well, the compiling of the data, the collection of the data is mandated by the state for all law enforcement agencies, including law enforcement agencies that interact with youth on school grounds. And so that is fed into the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice analyzes that data using best practices for data analysis. We at the board level review that data and review recommendations for addressing what we see in the data, which is a pervasive pattern of racial identity profiling, which is not insurmountable. This is something that we can address because we have so much data. We know not only who is doing the stopping, who is perceived to be stopped, but also what actions are taken.
Andrea, I want to jump in here because we have just about 30 seconds left. Really quickly, there's a new law that went into effect starting this year, AB 2773. It now requires officers to tell people why they're being stopped, requires agencies to include that in their report. How much do you think the RIPA data actually played into this law being enacted?
Well, I think RIPA data has been influential in a number of pieces of legislation, including this one, to help the public understand why they're being stopped. We know that pretext stops are the #1 problem in racial identity profiling. Those are stops for one thing that lead to questioning about something else. So having an officer say why they're stopping an individual compels that officer to be clear with the individual they're stopping about about the incident.
Andrea, you and I could have many more conversations, longer conversations about this. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but our stories do continue on KCRA.com. But as this year's report was released, the president of the Peace Officers Association, the Peace Officers Research Association of California, or PORAC, they issued this statement that reads in part, quote, "Law enforcement does have a vested interest as much as anyone else in accurately assessing bias in reporting, and it is in the best interest of Californians in our profession that we get this right. But in order to do that, the RIPA board needs to be collecting the right data that fully captures the context of police stops." Again, we do appreciate Andrea Guerrero joining us this morning. You can read that entire report and get a closer look at how local agencies, including Sacramento County Sheriff's Department and the Sacramento Police Department, stack up compared to the rest of the state by scanning this QR code. It'll take you to KCRA.com, where you can watch our full investigations.